All right, let's just jump right in. If you market or own a local business, you need to know that pretty much everything about how people find you online is changing. Like right now. We're talking about the single biggest shift in local discovery in probably 20 years, and it's all because of AI. So let's break this down.
You've seen this, right? You go to search for something local, and instead of that classic list of 10 blue links, you get this paragraph, a conversational summary that just gives you the answer. This isn't just Google changing the font. It's a fundamental rewiring of how search engines actually think. And I'm not being dramatic here. This is a revolution, not just a small evolution. These new generative AIs, like Google's Gemini, Microsoft's Copilot, and of course, ChatGPT, they're the new gatekeepers. They pull in information from all over the web to give a user a single confident answer. The old playbook? It's officially obsolete. So, if we want to figure out how to win in this new era, we have to understand the new rules of the game. I mean, the core mechanics of how a business gets found and recommended have been completely torn up and rewritten from scratch. This slide really gets to the heart of it. On the left, you've got the old way. Keywords. Simple, right? Someone types emergency plumber, Google looks for websites that say emergency plumber. But now look at the right. The new way is all about entities. The AI doesn't just see words, it understands your business as a whole concept, what you do, what you're good at, and what people think of you.
The best way to think about this is that your business's entity is basically its digital resume. And the AI? It's a very, very sophisticated hiring manager. It's not just scanning for keywords anymore. No, it's reading the whole resume, your website, every review, your social media, any news mentions, to figure out, are you really the best candidate for this job?
And you can see that difference so clearly here. We're going from keywords to entities. We're moving from a simple search index to this process called Retrieval Augmented Generation, or RAG, which is just a fancy way of saying the AI actively goes out, finds info, and then creates a totally new answer. But here's the kicker. While being close by still matters, the key ranking factors now lean way more on things like customer sentiment and how complete your data is. And here's a perfect real-world example of what I'm talking about. An AI actually recommended an auto repair shop with a 4.6-star rating over one with a 4.9. Why? Because the 4.6 shop had reviews full of rich descriptive phrases like expert in hybrid transmission repair. The other shop? Just a bunch of generic great service comments. The AI understood the meaning in those reviews. So the huge takeaway here is that the actual words in your reviews matter more than ever before. Okay, so that's the big shakeup. Now for the important part. How do you actually adapt? Let's get into the new playbook. We're going to break down the specific strategies for the 3 major AI platforms you need to worry about. First up, the big one, Google Gemini. When it comes to Gemini, you have to understand that your Google Business Profile, or GBP, isn't just a source of information, it is the absolute source of truth. Gemini basically treats the data in your GBP as cold, hard fact. So to win on Google, you have to hyper-optimize your profile. That means you use every single relevant category you can, not just your main one. You fill out all the attributes, because AI uses those as filters. You need to use Google Posts weekly to signal that you're active and engaged. And here's a pro tip. Seed your own Q&A section to directly feed the AI the answers to the most common questions about your business. All right, let's switch gears to Microsoft Copilot. It operates a little differently. See, while Google really trusts its own ecosystem, Copilot and Bing are always looking for external validation. They want to see what the rest of the internet is saying about you. So for Bing, the game plan starts with syncing your Google profile. You got to have that consistency. Then the focus shifts to boosting your own website's authority and linking out to all your social media accounts to provide that social proof. And for anyone a bit more technical, using something called the Index Now protocol tells Bing the second you update your site, which is a huge advantage. And then there's ChatGPT. It's a whole different animal. Why? Because it doesn't have a business portal like Google or Bing. It learns about your business simply by reading the entire open web. Blogs, news articles, forums, you name it. So the strategy here has a name, Entity Salience. And really all that means is that your goal is to become a prominent, well-known part of the local digital conversation. Think of it like digital PR, getting featured on local best-of lists, being talked about in community forums. The more high-quality chatter there is about you online, the more real and important your business seems to ChatGPT. So we have these unique strategies for Google, Microsoft, and ChatGPT. But what do they all have in common? Well, they all rely on one single solid foundation. Let's talk about the technical must-haves that make all of this other stuff even possible.
Look, it really all boils down to this. Consistency is completely non-negotiable. Imagine an AI finds 3 different closing times for your business or 2 different addresses. It gets confused. And a confused AI loses confidence, and it will almost always just recommend your competitor who has their data straight.
Now, the most powerful tool for creating that clarity is something called schema.org markup. It's basically a chunk of code you put on your website that acts like an instruction manual for the AIs. It translates all your content and says, hey, AI, this is our address, these are our hours, here are our services. It speaks their language, making your business perfectly legible. And this all has to come together across what you see here, the core data pipeline. You have to make sure your business information is perfectly identical across all these key platforms. When an AI can confidently connect the dots and confirm that the business on Yelp is the exact same one on Facebook and the same one on Apple Maps, that's a process called identity resolution. It's proof that you are who you say you are. Okay, we've covered the here and now, but this technology is moving at an incredible speed. So it's worth asking, what's just around the corner? The next frontiers are definitely visual and predictive search. Soon, you'll be able to just point your phone's camera at a building, and an AI will give you a summary of its menu and reviews. AI assistants are also going to start predicting what you need, suggesting a coffee shop near your next meeting that it already knows you'll like. It's all about being the most relevant, most easily understood entity for any given context. Which brings us to our final and most important question. The game is no longer about trying to trick an algorithm with keywords. It's about clearly and consistently communicating who you are, what you do, and why you're great at it. So you have to ask yourself, in this new generative era, is your business truly legible to AI?